Angel Reese was older, I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be?
The WNBA is absolutely losing it. On the latest comedy special, Angel Reese declared her intention to dethrone Caitlin Clark, as if the enduring superstar could be unseated by someone who's been busy feigning injuries and shedding tears over on-screen theatrics. And let's not overlook her complaints about her salary being substandard. Angel has officially branded herself.
Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlin Clark is when she's on the basketball floor. Plain and simple.
It's truly ridiculous that she believes she can outshine Clark, the athlete who consistently makes history each season. Reese has only perfected the art of self-deprecation, but who knows? Maybe she's earning accolades for being pitiable. Before Reese starts talking about taking over the WNBA, she might want to reassess her reputation first. Switching coaches won't make her the standout. She needs to adjust her attitude first.
And look, Angel Reese, there's nothing that she does where you go, did you see her?
Angel Reese appears convinced that partnering with David Alexander, LeBron James's trainer, will catapult her into women's basketball stardom. Indeed, collaborating with one of the top trainers globally might make her seem nearly unbeatable and poised to unseat Caitlin Clark. However, while Reese is busy refining her general movement patterns, Caitlin Clark is actively enhancing her shooting and playmaking, key aspects that define the best players on the court. Best of luck, Angel. Clark is sharpening the skills that have already left you behind as you continue your current efforts. Reese might have enjoyed her time at LSU, but equating her level with Clark's is like claiming you'll drop a hit album after singing in the shower for 5 minutes. That's not competitive, it's sheer delusion. While Clark reigns supreme in basketball overall, Reese may have been LSU's standout. But Caitlin is out there transforming the entire game. Reese boasts about overtaking Clark. However, I'd love to hear more about how you intend to dethrone a legend before you've even started making your mark professionally.
Come on, this is the most we've ever lost in our life. I only lost 7 games in my last 2 years at LSU. So it's been hard for me, but adjusting and just kind of have that mindset of just moving on has been something I try to give myself a little bit of grace.
Let's rewind to the 2023 NCAA Championship. Remember that scene? Reese was desperately trying to steal Clark's spotlight with a childish taunt, flashing the "you can't see me" gesture right back at Clark. Oh, that was certainly a moment, but for all the wrong reasons. While Reese was busy playing WWE with her hand movements, Clark was out there effortlessly outscoring everyone, including Reese. Angel's bold move was a weak attempt to make herself relevant by trying to steal the show for just 5 seconds. Reese was merely acting to grab attention. This isn't the case.
There is no one like Caitlin Clark in the history of the WNBA.
Speaking of numbers, let's consider Reese's WNBA debut. It was underwhelming at best. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is setting the league on fire, averaging 19.2 points per game and dishing out assists like she's been playing professionally for years. In comparison, Reese is putting up 13.6 points per game, which is almost 6 points shy of Clark's tally, in case anyone was unaware. And let's not overlook that Clark topped all rookies with 8.4 assists per game. So, what was Reese up to? She was still mastering consistent shooting, though she certainly gave it her best effort. Moving on to the Rookie of the Year race, Reese only reached the finals, which now feels more like a participation ribbon. Clark didn't just win, she entered the league with a clear intention to dominate, and now Reese is struggling to keep pace. Clark secured that award effortlessly. It wasn't even a contest.
But they still ask you about Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
What is your stance on that?
So my whole thing was when I got drafted, number 7. So I'm like, cool. The pressure is not even on me because I'm drafted 7, so the pressure shouldn't be up there. So I'm like, all right, cool. I could just hoop. So I don't know when like it started to just break out where I was just in rookie of year conversations. I'm like, all right, cool.
It's because you started killing it.
Well,
And
yeah.
they're like,
Reese's off-court life has truly become a spectacle. She secured a shoe deal with Reebok, which is quite a feat for someone who hasn't yet proven she can consistently perform at the highest level. Let's give her that. Meanwhile, Clark is out there revolutionizing the game with every move she makes. Reese is busy showcasing her lifestyle on Instagram, which is nice and all, but if you think that will help you surpass Clark, then good luck. If I were in her place, I'd focus more on basketball instead of counting the number of likes on your posts. In summary, while Angel Reese may be garnering attention with her off-court ventures and endorsement deals, Caitlin Clark stands out as the true powerhouse in women's basketball. Clark's unwavering dedication to refining her skills, combined with her impressive on-court statistics and game-changing plays, solidifies her position as a league leader. As the WNBA progresses, it's evident that Caitlin Clark is not only setting new standards, but also shaping the future of the sport. Meanwhile, Reese's focus on lifestyle branding and inconsistent performance leaves her trailing behind, highlighting the clear distinction between fleeting fame and sustained excellence in the world of basketball.
It's that time. Harvest.
You
It's
guys,
harvest
everyone
time.
wants me to cry today. No way. Oh.
Have you ever witnessed a basketball star tear up over someone else's triumph? Well, A'ja Wilson just did. The WNBA champion was seen in tears, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It's all in response to Caitlin Clark's emotional jersey retirement announcement.
I was like in tears, y'all.
You might be asking, what's all the fuss about? Don't players have their jerseys retired all the time? Well, not like this. Caitlin Clark's retirement ceremony is already setting records before it's even happened. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's fans are crying foul, suggesting Iowa orchestrated this to steal the spotlight. But what spotlight? Iowa likely didn't even know when South Carolina planned Wilson's ceremony, especially since she graduated nearly a decade ago. We've got the facts, the timeline, and fan reactions that tell a different story. Let's break down why Wilson's tears are flowing and how Clark is once again changing the game for women's basketball. February 2nd, 2025. Don't forget that date, because it's about to become legendary in women's basketball. 2 players, 2 jersey retirements, but only one is stealing the spotlight like a supernova. Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson, both revolutionizing women's basketball in their own ways, are set to have their jerseys retired on the same day. But that's where the comparison ends. Clark's ceremony at Iowa is generating a buzz that's completely overshadowing Wilson's South Carolina event.
Iowa taking on USC and Juju Watkins. Nationally televised game, I believe. February 2nd, 2-2, so it's 22. Everything about it lines up.
Let's talk numbers because they're crazy. The cheapest ticket to see Clark's jersey rise to the rafters is over $700, which is the most expensive ticket in women's basketball history. For some perspective, this price tag is even steeper than the cheapest ticket to an NBA Finals game. And if you're aiming for the best seats in the house, you'd better have a thick wallet, with tickets going for over $8,000. Meanwhile, you can catch a seat at Wilson's ceremony for just $25. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about a price difference more than 28 times higher for Clark's event.
But that is a supply and demand thing, especially in today's day and age where there's no such thing as a sellout, right? Where you can go to any event you want as long as you're willing to pay for it because of the secondary ticket market.
Social media is blowing up with reactions. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's a game-changing moment for women's basketball. The The demand we're seeing now was unimaginable just a few years ago. Clark's final home game shattered records with tickets reaching $450. But now that feels like pocket change compared to her retirement ceremony. What's unfolding here is Clark reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. She's not just rewriting the record books on the court, she's breaking barriers off it. Clark has become a cultural icon, drawing in fans who might have never tuned into a women's basketball game before.
I'm leading scorer in women's college basketball.
But wait, there's more. This story is far from over. What does Wilson and her team have to say about this, you may ask?
One of the sentiments that was expressed was, oh, it's the same day as A'ja Wilson's. How could you do? First of all, I remember them announcing A'ja Wilson was getting her jersey retired, but I didn't remember the date or anything. When the Clark news broke, I didn't think about A'ja Wilson. And again, as is the case with Caitlin Clark, this only is going to bring more attention to A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement.
As ticket prices for Clark's ceremony soared, another kind of inflation was taking over: online outrage. A'ja Wilson's fans aren't just upset, they're convinced a conspiracy is at play. But what if the real story is even more explosive than they think? The social media storm ignited with Wilson's supporters crying foul over the timing of Clark's jersey retirement. One fan didn't hold back, tweeting, "Why would y'all retire her jersey on the same day as A'ja Wilson? Are y'all stupid?" This sentiment echoed across social media, with Wilson's fan base feeling like their star was being overshadowed by the Clark phenomenon. But here's where it gets interesting. The timeline of these announcements tells a different story. Iowa didn't just pull Clark's jersey retirement out of thin air. They revealed their plans back on April 11th, 2024, right after the NCAA championship game.
And yes, Clark did get a standing ovation when Iowa's athletics director announced that the university will retire her number 22 jersey.
That number holds a lot of weight, far beyond my name, and I guess I'm just really grateful, and it'll be a special day when that happens for sure. Thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me.
South Carolina didn't unveil their plans for Wilson's jersey retirement until October 2024. 6 months later, folks. Wilson's fans are saying they're not Clark fans, so why should they care about Iowa stealing the spotlight with their announcement? Why can't both players be honored on the same day?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with two schools retiring respective jerseys on the same day. But secondly, if you wanted the focus to be on A'ja Wilson, she'll probably get more attention as the second, most recognized jersey retirement of that day than she would have if she had the stage all to herself on that.
So why are Wilson's fans so certain that Iowa is trying to steal South Carolina's thunder? It all boils down to the meteoric rise of Clark's popularity. Iowa's athletic director, Beth Gutz, put it bluntly, Clark's accomplishments have made a lasting impact on the university and on women's basketball. They weren't responding to Wilson's announcement. They were celebrating their own superstar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did it take South Carolina so long to honor Wilson? One fan pointed out the obvious. Why did it take a decade for South Carolina to retire A'ja's number? How is that Iowa's problem? It's a fair question. Wilson graduated in 2018, yet it's taken until 2025 for her alma mater to retire her jersey. That's not on Iowa, that's on South Carolina.
And South Carolina waited years and years to retire A'ja's jersey.
The conspiracy theories are running wild, with some of Wilson's supporters convinced that Iowa deliberately picked this date to overshadow A'ja's moment. But let's think this through. Iowa chose a date that aligns with a high-profile game against USC, featuring rising star Juju Watkins, which was already set to be nationally televised. Plus, Clark's jersey has been hanging in Carver Hawkeye Arena for months. Everyone knew it was coming. How could Iowa possibly know When Asia's retirement ceremony was planned, no one even knew about it until Clark made her announcement. This isn't about stealing anyone's spotlight. It's about maximizing exposure for women's basketball as a whole.
And then there was, Iowa is rushing this. They're rushing, or everything is rushed with Caitlin Clark. No, she just did things faster and garnered more attention and more notoriety and celebrity and celebration and popularity.
Here's what's hilarious. Some fans are actually asking for Wilson to move her date. One tweet put it bluntly, "Tell Aja to move her date." Then the face of the WNBA is retiring hers. Show some respect. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the landscape of women's basketball is evolving. So what's really happening here? Is this about disrespect? Or is it simply a changing of the guard in women's basketball? The facts don't back up the conspiracy theories. Iowa's plans were in place long before Wilson's announcement, and they're just capitalizing on Clark's massive popularity. But here's the twist. There might be more to Aga's reaction than just the jersey retirement itself. Is this truly about the ceremony, or could it be a deeper feeling of jealousy? Could Satou Sabally join Caitlin Clark on the Indiana Fever? This could be the biggest WNBA story of the offseason, and the digital clues Sabally has been leaving suggest it's more than just speculation. Recently, the Indiana Fever said goodbye to Temi Fagbenle, one of their key players early in the season. While this may seem like a typical off-season move, it could be setting the stage for something massive. Satou Sabally, the Dallas Wings all-star forward, has made it clear she's a free agent and has been subtly hinting at her interest in joining the Fever. From strategically liking social media posts to engaging with content about teaming up with Caitlin Clark, Sabally's actions are speaking volumes.
So she's come out and said she's a free agent, and then Overtime said Satou teaming up with Caitlin, kinda here for that narrative.
On Instagram, Sabally has been particularly active. After announcing her free agency, she began liking posts about the Fever and their potential super team with Caitlin Clark. What's notable is her complete lack of engagement with posts from fans of other teams, including vocal Chicago Sky supporters. This is calculated. Sabally has even liked fan-created graphics showing her in a Fever jersey, something rare in a league where players typically avoid tampering speculation. This isn't just random behavior. The timing and pattern of her activities suggest intent. After the college season began and Caitlin Clark started dominating headlines, Sabally's engagement with Indiana-related content escalated. It's clear she's intrigued by what the Fever are building. Why does this matter? The Fever are at a pivotal moment. They have Aaliyah Boston, who had a historic season, and of course, we all know what Caitlin Clark has been up to. But they still need a veteran superstar to complete the picture. Sabally, at 6 feet 4 inches with guard-like skills, could be the missing piece. Last season, Sabally averaged nearly 19 points and 8.5 rebounds per game. She's a versatile forward who can stretch the floor, defend multiple positions, and dominate in the paint. Pairing her with Boston and Clark would create a lineup that's not just competitive, but potentially dominant for years. And let's not forget Kelsey Mitchell, a proven scorer who would thrive with defenses unable to focus solely on her. But how could the Fever actually get Sabally? The Wings could use the core designation to retain her rights, similar to the franchise tag in other sports. However, history shows that forcing players to stay often backfires. Elena Delle Donne and Diana Taurasi both pushed their way to preferred destinations despite being cored. A sign and trade deal might be the best solution for all parties. A likely trade package could include NaLyssa Smith, the 8th pick in the upcoming draft, and a future first-round pick. Smith is a promising young forward with significant upside, and the draft pick would allow Dallas to add more young talent. For the Fever, giving up these assets is worth it to secure a proven superstar like Sabally. This potential move isn't just about the Fever, it's about the league. With super teams already established in New York and Las Vegas, the WNBA needs another team to balance the competitive landscape. Adding Sabally to a young core led by Boston and Clark could make Indiana that team. It would also shift the narrative around Indiana as a free agent destination, turning them into one of the most exciting franchises in the league. The timing is perfect for both Sabally and the Fever. At 25 years old, Sabally is entering her prime. The Fever have cap space to offer a max contract without compromising their roster, thanks to their young core still being on rookie deals. Bringing in Sabally would solidify their transformation from a rebuilding team to a legitimate contender. This move could also have a ripple effect beyond basketball. The Fever would instantly become one of the most marketable teams in the league, drawing attention to a smaller market and contributing to the WNBA's growth. Sabally joining forces with Clark and Boston wouldn't just create a team, it would create a dynasty capable of dominating the league for years to come.
Today, she has released, well, she's not released, it has been announced that her shoe is going to be dropped this week, and we can see what it looks like.
Nike's decision has ignited widespread outrage, with fans left questioning the company's priorities.
So Paige Beckers is arguably the best player in college basketball right now. She's had a really good start to the season, and again, she's a 23-year-old dominating against 18-year-olds. She should be.
While Paige Beckers makes history as the first college athlete with a Nike sneaker, Caitlin Clark, widely regarded as one of the most electrifying players in women's basketball, remains notably absent from the spotlight.
So Nike's first Paige Beckers shoe drops this week. So Caitlin Clark has not had a shoe. By the way, she's had nothing. She's had nothing except the Rookie of the Year top.
How did Nike miss the mark with their biggest star? Was this a calculated strategy or an outright blunder? This is the story of how Nike's latest move has divided fans and ignited controversy in women's basketball. By unveiling a signature shoe for Paige Beckers, while seemingly sidelining Caitlin Clark, Nike has sparked shockwaves across the sports world. What should have been a groundbreaking moment for women's basketball has quickly spiraled into a PR crisis, with fans, analysts, and casual observers alike questioning the brand's priorities. The controversy goes beyond the sneaker. It's about how Nike's decision is being interpreted as a glaring snub of Caitlin Clark, a player widely recognized as the face of women's basketball.
Nike signed Beckers in September 2023, where she frequently wore the GT Hustle 2 on court. She signed several NIL deals. So, Nike signed Caitlin Clark in 2022. Nada. Nike signed Paige Beckers in 2023. Signature shoe straight away.
Fans are outraged, flooding social media with calls for action, including boycotts of Nike products. How do you ignore Caitlin Clark, the best player in women's basketball? One fan tweeted. Another added, Nike just doesn't get it. Disrespecting Caitlin Clark is unacceptable, and I'm done buying their products. These frustrations are mirrored in fan forums, where debates over Nike's priorities dominate discussions. Some fans are even posting videos of themselves discarding Nike gear, while others are pledging to switch to competitors like Adidas or Under Armour. The backlash is undeniable, and the noise is only getting louder. The irony of this controversy is rooted in Caitlin Clark's undeniable greatness. She doesn't need brands to validate her. Brands need her. At just 22, Clark has transcended college basketball, becoming a household name in sports overall. Her record-breaking performances, exceptional leadership, and ability to draw massive crowds have cemented her status as a superstar. Her jaw-dropping shots and playmaking skills regularly go viral, captivating basketball fans across the globe and proving that her impact speaks for itself.
It's cool. And look, I think it's simultaneously, it's okay to say it's really cool that Paige Beckers is getting her shoe, but Nike fumbled Caitlin Clark so badly.
The controversy highlights a larger issue with Nike's approach to sports marketing. While Buchers is undeniably talented and deserving of recognition, many feel that Clark's cultural and athletic impact has reached unprecedented levels. Her performances consistently draw massive audiences, and her highlights frequently go viral, captivating basketball fans worldwide. For a brand as influential as Nike, sidelining such a star feels like a glaring missed opportunity. Nike's decision not to launch a Caitlin Clark signature shoe has also raised concerns about their ability to connect with their audience. Fans argue that Clark's dominance and charisma make her the perfect candidate to lead a campaign that could transcend sports and become a cultural moment. Instead, Nike's move has been widely interpreted as tone-deaf, sparking backlash that continues to grow. This misstep has opened the door for competitors like Adidas and Under Armour to step in and align themselves with Clark, whose marketability continues to soar. A Caitlin Clark signature shoe could not only boost sales, but also send a powerful message about valuing women's sports. If Nike doesn't act quickly, they risk losing one of the brightest stars in basketball to a rival brand. For now, Caitlin Clark's star power shines brighter than ever. She doesn't need a signature shoe to prove her greatness. Her talent and influence speak for themselves. However, for Nike, this situation serves as a wake-up call. The backlash has shown that fans are paying attention, demanding better representation, and willing to hold brands accountable. If Nike fails to recognize Clark's value, it risks falling behind in the rapidly evolving landscape of women's sports marketing.
This is a place where players can come and get better and be surrounded by an organization that supports you. They're going to have everything they need to be successful. So
the Indiana Fever are about to make a huge move in WNBA history. They're not just aiming for one star player, not even two. They're targeting 10 game-changing free agents who could make them serious title contenders. You might be wondering, how can they afford all that talent? Well, that's where you're mistaken. The Fever have a secret weapon, Kelly Krauskopf. She's back with the team this year, and she's got a bold vision. Kelly's not here to play it safe. She's here to get things done.
I know the free agent situation in the WNBA, but are you in a position where you can add some pieces?
yes, we are. We're definitely in a position. And I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her.
With her vast network and resources, Kelly is determined to make Indiana the hottest spot in the WNBA. Her strategy is bold, and it's already catching everyone's attention. You won't believe the plans she has in store to turn the Fever into a true powerhouse. You know that moment in a movie when the two main characters finally join forces, and you just know you're about to see something incredible? That's the vibe right now, because Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are about to team up for the Indiana Fever.
Good thing for women's basketball. I'm playing alongside this kid, so it makes everything, a little bit more dramatic, and like the people are coming out to see this person. So we just do what we can. We embrace it. I'm pretty sure our organization can feed off of it.
Let's take a moment to focus on Kelsey Mitchell. Did you know she averaged 19.2 points per game last season? That's not just impressive. That's all-star caliber. And it's not like she had just a few good nights either. After the Olympic break, Mitchell went on a scoring spree, putting up 20 or more points in 7 straight games. Imagine trying to guard someone that reliable. Now, think about Mitchell teaming up with Caitlin Clark. We're talking about two of the top shooters in the game coming together. How are defenses supposed to handle that? Clark's college numbers are through the roof, and her knack for setting up her teammates is incredible. With Clark's playmaking skills and Mitchell's scoring, this could be the most exciting backcourt the WNBA has ever seen.
Because Kelsey Mitchell said basketball is a language and you have to get on the same page. Me and Caitlin like to play fast and up-tempo, and I'm always going to align based on how she's playing and how she's going.
Here's where things get really interesting. Kelsey Mitchell is a free agent right now. The Fever have to re-sign her, right? But at what price? We're talking about a player who has been the heart and soul of the team. Even the Fever's president said they wouldn't be where they are today without her. That kind of praise doesn't come cheap. So, let's break down what it might actually take to keep Mitchell in Indiana. Spoiler alert, it's a hefty sum. We're talking about a Supermax qualifying offer of around $250,000. That's a big investment, but can the Fever really afford to let Mitchell go?
Look, we're going to evaluate everything and have those types of discussions with her.
Here's the thing. It's not only about the money, it's about building a championship caliber team. That's where Caitlin Clark comes into play. Bringing her on board isn't just about her own skills. It's about how she can make everyone around her better, especially a scorer like Mitchell.
But all signs point to her returning, including her and Clark attending the Pacers and Grizzlies game.
You might be wondering if these two can really work together. Won't they end up competing for shots? But that's the best part. Clark isn't just a scorer. She's a true playmaker, and Mitchell has already proven she can thrive alongside other star guards. This isn't about two players battling for the spotlight. It's about two stars joining forces to create something that's even better than what they could achieve individually.
Kelsey Mitchell has been an all-star, but she had the stage, the bright lights, and everybody could see what kind of bucket getter she is. Plus, Caitlin draws the defense. Kelsey gets to go one-on-one and put her skills on display.
Wow. People are done with NaLyssa Smith. Traitor. Get her off the team. Adios amigos, as that guy said.
NaLyssa Smith, the star of the Indiana Fever, might actually be at the heart of the team's struggles. Hard to believe, right? You're probably thinking, wait, isn't she one of their top players? Well, get ready because we're about to dig into what's really happening with the Fever. So, what's going on with NaLyssa Smith? And why is her future with the team suddenly uncertain? We're about to dive into all the details causing a stir in the Fever's locker room. But here's the twist. It's not what you'd expect. The reasons behind this surprising situation are going to catch you off guard.
You know, I believe truly in my heart that connected teams are winning teams. And so people who fit, players who fit the culture of the Indiana Fever and where we are and where we're moving towards.
You know something's up when a new coach starts emphasizing culture and everyone embracing their roles, right? Well, that's exactly what happened when Stephanie White took over at the Indiana Fever. Let's go back to her first press conference. It was all smiles and big ambitions, but something didn't quite add up. White kept going on about building around a core group of three, and it felt a bit off.
Caitlin Clark, a generational player, and Aaliyah Boston, certainly when you think about back-to-back Rookie of the Years and what each of those players have done up until this point for their universities in the game of basketball, for the women's basketball culture and community. It's unprecedented. And to be able to work with those guys and Kelsey Mitchell, who I think has weathered the storm of Indiana Fever basketball, and I felt like had the best year of her career, this year. And really, when you think about teams, you think about a core three, right? You think about a big three, and to be able to work with that big three.
But wait a minute. Where does NaLyssa Smith fit into all of this? You'd expect a former number 2 overall pick to be front and center, right? But no, Smith's name didn't even come up. You might be thinking, maybe she just forgot to mention Smith. But let's be real, this is a player who was supposed to be the future of the franchise.
We want players that will fit in seamlessly with our core three, which includes Kelsey Mitchell. We want players to fit in seamlessly with the core three. We want players that will play a role and will embrace their role. And we want players that will fit in with the culture and the team.
The new coach kept emphasizing words like unity and commitment. Pretty subtle, right? It felt like she was sending a message without saying it outright. But White didn't stop there. She kept talking about what she wants in a player. She made a point of saying that success isn't just about individual talent. It's about a team's willingness to go to battle together every single day. Is it just me? Or does that sound like she's taking a direct shot at someone?
Because every single thing that she described wanting to build around Kelsey Mitchell, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston is the opposite of what NaLyssa Smith is.
It gets even more interesting. White started outlining what she wants in her ideal player. and it was almost as if she was reading off an anti-NaLyssa checklist. She mentioned wanting players who can embrace their roles and fit in seamlessly with the core three. Ouch, that's got to sting if you're Smith, right? Well, it's becoming pretty clear that White's vision for the Fever's future doesn't seem to include Smith. She's focused on building a team of players who are fully committed to each other and the franchise's long-term goals. And let's be honest, with all the drama surrounding Smith lately, it's tough to see how she fits into that picture.
To another level. You know, you've got incredibly talented players right here in Caitlin and Aaliyah and Lexi, a team that was incredibly fun to watch, very tough to game plan against. So I'm glad I'm going to get to work with you guys, work with you ladies, instead of having to think about how to stop you.
Did you catch the latest? Ben Shapiro just took down Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson over her ridiculous comments about Caitlin Clark.
So one of the bizarre controversies of the last week is Caitlin Clark, who is the WNBA's only nameable star. Here, for example, is WNBA team owner Sheila Johnson. Here she is, ripping Caitlin Clark and the fan base for liking Caitlin Clark, saying it's only because Caitlin Clark is white.
In what might as well be an Olympic gold medal for bad takes, Sheila's claiming that Clark didn't deserve Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year title, basically suggesting that everyone in the WNBA should be recognized, except for Caitlin Clark.
Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect everybody that's playing.
You heard that right. This is the ultimate everybody gets a trophy mentality, but cranked up to the max. Shapiro wasted no time shredding Johnson's argument, using his signature rapid-fire style to highlight just how ridiculous her position really is.
You're not putting the entire WNBA on the cover because not everybody can fit and nobody knows who any of those people are. By the way, 31% apparently of the entire Washington Mystics ticket sales this year came in 2 games. I will give you a guess as to which player was featured in those 2 games.
Exactly. Not everyone can fit inside the spotlight, and definitely not the entire WNBA. As for this talk of upliftment, let's not forget that 31% of the Washington Mystics' annual revenue has come from games featuring Caitlin Clark and her team. Are we seriously supposed to pretend Caitlin Clark isn't single-handedly bringing fresh energy to a league that's been struggling to stay relevant?
Look, I'm going to be completely honest about this. I thought what Wizards owner Sheila Johnson said about Caitlin Clark came off as racist. Sheila Johnson is the black billionaire owner of the NHL's Washington Capitals, the NBA's Washington Wizards, and the WNBA's Washington Mystics. Johnson said she did not agree with Time Magazine making Caitlin Clark the first ever WNBA player to be Athlete of the Year.
Sheila's claim that Caitlin Clark's success somehow undermines the rest of the league definitely carries a whiff of something darker. It's hard to ignore how that perspective reeks of racism, whether she intended it or not.
And with putting Caitlin Clark on the cover. Johnson said the entire WNBA should have been chosen as the League of the Year and that numerous stars should have been put on the cover. She said the WNBA has a long legacy of black stars and that, and I quote, something clicked with the WNBA last year because of the draft. It's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Reese, as in, of course, Chicago's Angel Reese.
Seriously? Angel Reese doesn't even come close to Caitlin Clark, both in skill and popularity. So why is Sheila so eager to downplay Clark's accomplishments? It's almost like she's trying to diminish something that clearly stands out on its own.
Johnson said, and I quote, there's so much talent out there that's unrecognized, and I don't think we can pin it on just one player. When you single out one, it creates hard feelings, end of quote. Johnson said, what's been happening to black players on social media, and I quote, has got to stop, in that, and I quote again, this division of racism is going to tear us apart, end quote.
Exactly. Are we seriously going to stop celebrating a player just because others are feeling threatened or jealous? That doesn't sit right, does it? This is straight up unfair treatment. Sheila should be recognizing greatness, not trying to undermine it.
Johnson is saying to me, the majority of WNBA players are black and have always been black, that basketball belongs more to black players than to white, and that it's not healthy for the league to have a white player featured as Athlete of the Year on the cover of Time. Now, I'm pretty sure if WNBA MVP Asia Wilson had made the cover of Time as Athlete of the Year, Johnson wouldn't have had any problem with that. Just not the white girl.
Absolutely. What Sheila's implying is that we should start picking and choosing who gets praise based on the color of their skin, rather than their talent or achievements. It's absurd on so many levels, and frankly, it's a huge disservice to the game and the players who deserve recognition.
But this person put this on as a quote to this video. Sheila Johnson's worth $850 million, and she doesn't put a penny back into the neighborhood she comes from. Very interesting. She doesn't even come back to her high school to show little black girls that they can become her. My little cousins go to the same high school. They don't even know she exists. Very interesting indeed.
Did you catch that? It turns out Sheila might be guilty of the very thing she's accusing Caitlin Clark of. That's right. She supposedly doesn't do charity or encourage the black kids in her community to become billionaires like herself. Talk about hypocrisy at its finest, folks.
Well, the league has always been woke, has always had an agenda. The league and the sports media, the establishment sports media that is, and their surrogates. Always. And they pride themselves on that.
It's become pretty clear that the WNBA has a lot of politics playing out behind the scenes. Could this be what's been holding the league back all these years? It's hard not to wonder if these power struggles and biases are part of the reason the league hasn't reached the level of recognition and success it deserves.
But since Caitlin Clark stepped into the waters with the Time magazine interview, it's almost like you're gonna see more people, more comments, more demands. You're going to see it's going to be less and less about basketball, what you want to see, and it's going to be a whole lot of this stuff, because it's like she ripped off another layer of the onion, and this one is a big one. And so now people feel like they can just go all in.
Exactly. Sheila's opposition to Caitlin Clark seems rooted in the fact that, like many so-called woke figures, she's recognized that Clark isn't playing by the usual political playbook. Instead of bending to certain narratives or pushing an agenda, Clark is simply focused on earning her success through talent. And that's something that doesn't sit well with people who expect athletes to follow their scripted roles.
But this, of course, is the Mystics owner that said that Caitlin Clark should give up her Time magazine award and give it to the entire WNBA. Of course, that has now become a running joke, and the mother of all community checks came down here and nailed her. 31% of Mystics' total home attendance for the 2024 season came from the 2 games versus Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Newsflash, Sheila, sports thrive on competition, not on the equality of outcome. Claiming that Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve to be singled out is like saying LeBron James should share his accolades with the benchwarmers just because of team effort. That's not how greatness works. Individual brilliance deserves recognition, and Clark has earned every bit of it.
It's important that we say, you know what? You want to go all in? You want to go in, people with a lot of nonsense? Then guess what? We're going to go in too, and we're going to expose the nonsense.
Exactly. A lot of these racist attitudes flourish when there's no pushback or challenge. That's why speaking out isn't just an option, it's a responsibility. If we stay silent, we're allowing these harmful views to persist unchecked. It's crucial to stand up and call out hypocrisy when we see it.
What it is. A lot of times, like you, we just want to let's just play basketball. But then when they start saying nonsense, like when the owner of a WNBA team, Sheila Johnson, Washington Mystics, when she says some of the stuff like she said that people are talking about today, it's like, okay, you want to play hardball? Then let's play.
Absolutely. Caitlin Clark isn't just a great player. She's a mythical juggernaut and a cultural icon. She's rewriting the rules of the game, and her numbers prove it. She's not just good, she's the best. And anyone who tries to deny that is ignoring the undeniable facts.